Have you ever spent an entire season tending potato plants, only to end up with a harvest that felt underwhelming? Perhaps you pictured yourself digging up baskets overflowing with large, healthy potatoes, but assumed achieving those kinds of yields would require endless watering, constant maintenance, and countless hours of work. The truth is, producing bigger and more abundant potato harvests is often much simpler than many gardeners realize. In this guide, you'll learn a highly effective growing approach that experienced gardeners use to maximize production while minimizing effort. We'll cover how to select the best potato varieties, prepare ideal soil conditions, plant more efficiently, and encourage larger, healthier tubers, all without spending every spare moment in the garden. No complicated gimmicks or secret formulas, just proven techniques that consistently deliver impressive results. 1. Choose the right potato varieties. The path to a successful potato harvest begins long before the first seed potato enters the ground. One of the most important decisions you'll make is selecting the right variety. Different potatoes grow at different rates, produce varying yields, and serve different purposes in the kitchen. Choosing wisely can dramatically influence the size and quality of your harvest. Potatoes generally fall into three categories: early season, mid-season, and late season varieties. Early potatoes mature quickly, often reaching harvest size within 70 to 90 days. These are ideal for gardeners eager to enjoy fresh potatoes early in the season. Their tender texture makes them especially well suited for boiling and potato salads. Popular early varieties include Red Norland, Swift, and Yellowfin. Mid-season potatoes typically require 90 to 110 days to mature. They often produce larger tubers and more balanced yields. Yukon Gold remains a favorite because of its rich flavor and creamy texture, while Kennebec is highly regarded for roasting, baking, and frying. Late-season potatoes require the greatest patience, frequently taking 120 days or more to reach full maturity. However, they often reward growers with the largest harvests and excellent storage qualities. Russet Burbank and German Butterball are popular choices for gardeners interested in maximizing yields and storing potatoes through winter. A practical strategy is to plant a mix of all three categories. This creates staggered harvest periods rather than having every potato mature simultaneously. You'll enjoy fresh potatoes early in the season while still producing larger crops later for long-term storage. Selecting quality seed potatoes is equally important. Seed potatoes are specifically produced for planting and tend to perform much better than grocery store potatoes, which are often treated to prevent sprouting. Choose firm, healthy seed potatoes that display several visible eyes, the small buds from which new shoots emerge. Larger seed potatoes can be divided into multiple planting pieces, provided each section contains at least one or two healthy eyes. One step many beginners overlook is allowing cut seed potatoes to cure before planting. After cutting, place the pieces in a cool, dry location for 1 or 2 days. This allows a protective layer to form over the cut surfaces, helping reduce the risk of rot after planting. It's also wise to consider your local climate and intended use. Some varieties perform better in cooler regions, while others thrive in warmer conditions. Certain potatoes are ideal for baking and mashing, while others excel in salads or homemade fries. The variety you choose influences every stage of the growing process. Starting with the right potatoes creates a strong foundation for a productive and rewarding harvest. 2. Create ideal soil conditions. Instead of working harder. The secret to growing excellent potatoes isn't constant labor, it's building the right environment from the start. Potatoes are surprisingly easygoing plants when grown in soil that meets their needs. They perform best in loose, well-draining soil rich in organic matter. Heavy clay soils often hold too much water and restrict tuber development, resulting in small or oddly shaped potatoes. Extremely sandy soils can create the opposite problem by drying out too quickly. The ideal soil retains moisture while remaining loose enough for tubers to expand freely. Start by loosening the soil to a depth of approximately 12 to 15 inches. If your soil is compacted, a broad fork can be especially useful because it loosens the ground without disturbing its natural structure. Unlike aggressive tilling, this approach preserves beneficial microorganisms and fungal networks that contribute to healthier plant growth. Think of this process as creating a comfortable underground environment where roots and developing potatoes can grow without restriction. Once the soil is loosened, Enrich it with organic materials such as compost, well-aged manure, leaf mold, or decomposed plant matter. These amendments improve fertility, increase moisture retention, and support healthy microbial activity. Fresh manure should generally be avoided because it can damage young roots and contribute to disease issues. Additional amendments such as bone meal or rock phosphate can provide slow-release nutrients that encourage stronger root systems and larger tuber development. Another highly effective technique is growing potatoes in raised beds or mounded rows. Elevated growing areas improve drainage, warm more quickly in spring, and create looser conditions where tubers can develop more easily. As plants grow, gradually pull additional soil around the stems in a process known as hilling. This simple practice encourages the formation of additional potatoes while protecting developing tubers from sunlight exposure, which can cause them to turn green and develop an unpleasant taste. Mulching offers another major advantage. Applying a thick layer of straw, shredded leaves, or other organic material helps conserve moisture, suppress weeds, regulate soil temperature, and significantly reduce maintenance requirements. Soil pH also deserves attention. Potatoes generally perform best in slightly acidic soil with a pH between 5.5 and 6.5. Maintaining this range helps reduce common issues such as potato scab, while promoting healthier plant growth overall. When loose soil, good drainage, abundant organic matter, and healthy soil biology come together, potato plants become far more productive. Rather than constantly solving problems throughout the season, you're creating conditions that allow the plants to thrive naturally. And that's what makes this approach so effective. A little preparation early on often leads to larger harvests, healthier plants, and much less work later in the season. 3. Plant potatoes. Properly from day one. Planting potatoes may seem straightforward, but small differences in timing and technique can have a major impact on the final harvest. Potatoes thrive in cool conditions, yet they dislike frozen soil, making proper timing one of the most important factors for success. In most regions, the ideal planting time is about 2 to 4 weeks before the last expected spring frost. By this point, the soil is usually warm enough to encourage sprouting while still providing the cool temperatures potatoes prefer. In warmer climates, early spring planting is often ideal, provided the soil isn't excessively wet. Too much moisture at planting can cause seed potatoes to rot before growth even begins. Everything starts with quality seed potatoes. These may be planted whole if they're small or cut into sections if they're larger. The important thing is that each piece contains at least one healthy eye, the small bud from which a new shoot will emerge. When cutting larger seed potatoes, aim for pieces roughly the size of a chicken egg. Each section should contain 1 or 2 strong eyes. After cutting, allow the pieces to dry in a cool, well-ventilated area for a day or two. This allows a protective layer to form over the cut surfaces, reducing the likelihood of disease and rot after planting. Proper spacing is equally important. Plant seed pieces about 4 to 6 inches deep with the eyes facing upward. Leave approximately 12 inches between plants, so developing tubers have plenty of room to expand underground. If you're growing in rows, leave 2 to 3 feet between each row. This extra space makes future tasks such as hilling, mulching, watering, and harvesting much easier, while preventing soil compaction around the root zone. Many gardeners also choose to grow potatoes in raised ridges or small mounds rather than flat ground. This method improves drainage, helps the soil warm more quickly, and creates loose growing conditions that encourage larger, cleaner potatoes. After planting, gently cover the seed pieces with soil and provide a light watering. Heavy irrigation is unnecessary at this stage and can actually reduce oxygen levels around developing roots. Before long, young green shoots will begin emerging through the soil. Once this happens, the most important stage of the entire growing process begins. 4. The powerful combination of hilling and mulching. One of the most common reasons gardeners end up with disappointing potato yields is surprisingly simple. They leave the soil level around the plants. Flat soil limits tuber production, exposes developing potatoes to sunlight, and allows weeds to compete for moisture and nutrients. One of the most effective ways to increase potato production is by repeatedly covering the lower stems as the plants grow. When shoots reach approximately 6 to 8 inches in height, it's time for the first hilling. Carefully pull loose soil around the base of each plant while leaving the upper leaves exposed. This technique does far more than support the stems. Every section of stem buried beneath the soil has the potential to produce additional potatoes. In simple terms, increasing the underground stem area often increases the potential harvest. As the plants continue growing, repeat the process every 1 or 2 weeks. Continue adding soil around the lower stems while ensuring the upper foliage remains exposed to sunlight. Over time, this creates a larger underground zone where tubers can safely develop. Many experienced gardeners now combine or replace soil hilling with thick layers of straw or hay mulch. This approach offers several benefits at once. Mulch helps conserve soil moisture during hot weather, reducing watering needs. It blocks sunlight from reaching weeds, significantly lowering weed pressure. It also prevents soil compaction from heavy rainfall and helps maintain loose, well-aerated growing conditions. An additional advantage is easier harvesting. Potatoes grown within mulch often lift from the ground far more easily than those grown in compact soil. Most gardeners achieve excellent results with 3 or 4 rounds of hilling throughout the season. Each time the plants gain another 6 to 8 inches of growth, another layer of soil or mulch is added around the stems. By the end of the season, what appears to be a dense green bush above ground is often hiding a large crop of potatoes beneath the surface. One useful tip is to avoid burying the entire plant. Keeping enough healthy foliage exposed allows continued photosynthesis, which provides the energy needed for ongoing tuber development. Some gardeners choose to add small amounts of balanced organic fertilizer or wood ash during hilling, although this is often unnecessary if the soil was properly prepared before planting. When proper spacing, raised beds, mulching, and repeated hilling are combined, potato cultivation becomes remarkably low maintenance. Weed problems decrease, watering requirements drop, and soil health gradually improves over time. That's the beauty of this method. Every new layer of soil or mulch quietly expands the underground growing area, increasing harvest potential without significantly increasing the workload. 5. Water. Correctly for bigger and better potatoes. Watering may seem like a simple task, but it has a tremendous influence on the size, quality, and productivity of your potato harvest. Many gardeners unintentionally reduce yields by either watering too frequently or allowing the soil to become excessively dry. The secret isn't constant watering, it's providing deep, consistent moisture. Potatoes develop underground with the help of an extensive root system. When soil becomes too dry, tuber growth slows dramatically, resulting in smaller potatoes. On the other hand, overly wet soil can suffocate roots, encourage disease, and increase the risk of rot. The goal is steady moisture without waterlogging. Rather than watering lightly every day, it's far more effective to deeply soak the soil once or twice per week. Deep watering encourages roots to grow farther into the soil in search of moisture, producing stronger plants that tolerate heat and drought much more effectively. Healthy roots are one of the hidden keys to large potato harvests. Timing is also critical. The most important watering period begins when potato plants start flowering. These flowers indicate that tubers are actively developing below the soil surface. During this stage, the plant directs enormous amounts of energy into potato production. If moisture levels fluctuate dramatically, tubers may crack, split, or become misshapen. Even though these potatoes remain edible, they often store poorly and reduce overall harvest quality. Mulching can greatly improve watering efficiency. A thick layer of straw or organic mulch slows evaporation, helps maintain consistent moisture, protects roots from extreme temperatures, and suppresses weeds that compete for water and nutrients. Most potato crops require approximately 1 to 2 inches of water per week, although actual needs vary depending on rainfall, soil type, and temperature. Sandy soils typically dry faster and require more frequent watering, while heavier soils retain moisture longer and must be monitored carefully to avoid excess water. The best approach is to check moisture below the surface rather than relying solely on appearance. Soil that appears dry on top may still contain adequate moisture underneath. How you water matters as much as how often. Avoid soaking the leaves whenever possible, as wet foliage can encourage diseases such as blight. Instead, direct water toward the base of the plant where the roots can access it most effectively. Drip irrigation systems and soaker hoses are particularly effective because they deliver moisture slowly and evenly without disturbing mulch or compacting the soil. If you're using straw mulch, a simple trick can improve results even further. Lightly moisten the top layer first, allowing it to absorb some water. Once softened, deeper watering can penetrate more efficiently into the soil below. The combination of deep watering and thick mulch creates a highly stable growing environment. Soil remains cooler, moisture levels stay more consistent, and plants experience less stress. Many experienced gardeners follow one simple rule: consistency is more important than quantity. Moderate, regular watering is far better than cycles of flooding, followed by prolonged dryness. Extreme fluctuations place stress on plants and reduce tuber quality. Consistent moisture encourages potatoes to develop evenly, resulting in larger, smoother, and more uniform harvests. During periods of extreme heat, it's wise to check soil moisture more frequently. Even if the mulch appears dry, the soil beneath may still contain adequate water. Shallow watering should also be avoided. Surface watering encourages tubers to develop too close to the soil surface, where exposure to sunlight can cause them to turn green and develop bitter compounds. Fortunately, mulch helps prevent this by shielding developing potatoes from direct light, while simultaneously stabilizing soil moisture. When watering is done properly, potato growing becomes much easier. Plants stay healthier, tubers expand steadily, disease problems decrease, and harvests become far more productive. Combined with good soil preparation, proper spacing, hilling, and mulching, effective watering completes a simple system capable of producing surprisingly large potato harvests with relatively little ongoing effort.